And welcome everyone to Southport Whisky Club. We have we have Michael Henry with us, and he's going to talk through 5 Loch Lomond single casks, which Loch Lomond bottled for the UK golf tournaments last year. So I think we managed to negotiate getting the last of these, the last of the stocks, and part of the negotiation was that we would get Michael on tonight. How are you, Michael?
Very well, thanks. Kind of a little nervous talking about wood for change rather than pure spirit character. So,
we'll go easy on you. We'll go easy on you. But these 5 whiskies look. I haven't tried them yet. Actually, I'm looking forward to them myself. But they look really, really tasty.
yeah, I think it's something that we don't normally do with Loch Lomond. With our still setup, we're normally very kind of distillery led. We like talking more about distills and everything. So this is kind of the first time that we've done something like this ourselves. So just like to say, evening everyone. Good to see a few familiar faces and have everyone in with us tonight. Probably if we give a little background to the series, the last couple of years, we've partnered with our main golf partnership has been with the Open, and we've been doing our kind of open releases for a couple of years now. And last year, COVID aside, we'd started looking to expand kind of our golf partnerships. And we were doing some more work with the European tour. And this was really our first kind of venture into that. So that's when kind of COVID came into play, and we kind of had the more condensed European tour that was UK based, and we worked with European tour to produce this swing series of individual cask bottlings for each of the courses or tournaments that were held in as part of the series. So if we go through the running order tonight, we'll be doing the English Championship rum cask first, and the English Open Sauternes, followed by the Betfred British Masters Limousine Oak, and then we'll move on to the Peated, and we have the Wheels Open and Celtic Classic Oloroso, and we'll finish with the UK Championship Tawny Port.
So, Michael,
I'm smiling at that one already.
Aye. So did you have a plan to release lots more single casks if the European Open had gone ahead as normal?
No, we probably would have done a different release for it, like a more limited release rather than individual casks.
Okay. Because it was a leading question to say maybe you've got casks sitting there that you're waiting to do this year. Because
I'm not sure what our plans are for this year. You may have seen that we're sponsoring the Scottish Premier Football League.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sponsoring the Pro 14 Rugby.
Yeah.
So with all these partnerships, we're doing special bottlings for the tournaments themselves and the clubs. I think a few people have seen like the likes of the Motherwell bottling we did, and we'll be doing lots more of those. So I'm kind of just getting the football and the rugby to bed. We've just released the Open releases for this year for Royal St George. So kind of when I get caught up with all that, I'll maybe look at what we're doing anything more for this year. So that's the kind of background to it. We are getting more active with our sports partnerships, and there will be more special releases or tied to the events that we're working with. So this was the first time we did a series of single cat or individual cask bottlings.
Right. There's a rum cask here.
Yep. So we're going to start with the rum cask. So it's 2006. It was distilled in December. So see, that's the details there. And it was matured in refill American oak hogsheads up until September 18, when we recast it into first fill Caribbean rum cask barrel. So it was, just checking my dates, just under 12 years in the refill American oak, then recast September 18 into the first fill rum, and it was in the rum until it was bottled in July 20. So just under 2 years in the rum. So it came out at a strength of 55.2. The spirit itself, it's unpeated. It's from our straight neck pot stills collected at high strength. So it'll be more commonly known as Inchmarin spirit.
You don't normally do rum finishes at Loch Lomond. Was this always destined to be a single cask?
Yeah, this was probably one of the first trials I'd done with rum. So we haven't released many. Probably used rum more with Glen Scotia. Probably the most well-known one's the Demerara Rum Festival from 2019. So this was the kind of one of the first times that we'd used rum with Loch Lomond.
Works well. Have you got some peated ones of these as well?
No, we didn't use the rum with the peat. For Loch Lomond, the sweetness of the rum, and there's some tropical fruit there. It's working really well with the fruit that's in the spirit itself. Those were very complementary casks to use. But we find that it's quite a light cask, so it took time to pick up the flavour of the finishing wood.
So what do we think of this? I see Mr. Mills has appeared. How are you, Gary? You here to check up on Michael?
No, I just thought I'd drop in, say hello. I didn't get a chance to get these liquids, unfortunately, so I'm currently on. I thought I'd stick with the golf. Managed to get a hold of a cheeky wee bottle of the 2018. 2019. Yeah, 2019.
18, yeah.
18.
That's the 18 one.
Yeah, so I've just cracked that.
Very good. Nice to see you.
I thought I'd pop in and say hello.
Nice to see you. Thank you. So Nigel, what do you make of this first one? You're first off the mark here.
I really like this. It's like eating sugar cubes. I'm quite partial in a cafe that you get the bowl of sugar on the table and you pick out the brown ones and just eat them as a bit of a side snack. And I really get that. It's the intensity of the sweetness of the sugar in the rum coming through into the spirit. The spirit's really nice and light. It's got all of that Inchmarin floral character to it. But I think it brings out more of a grapefruit note in it. is what I get, both on the nose and a bit on the palate. There's a bit of citrus bitterness to it.
Yeah, so there is a zestiness on it.
Yeah.
Um,
I really like it. It's a nice twist on an Inchmurrin. Makes it into something completely different. And yeah, special, unique, very different. I like it. Good starter.
The first 3 casks we're tasting, the original whiskey itself is very similar. So it's all Inchmurrin. They're all distilled 28th December 2006. They've all been matured in refill American oak. So all very similar distillation dates, kind of low wood influence for 12 years before they've been recast. So we're keeping a lot of the distillery character there. So there's a solid base of that distillery character for the finishing cask to work with.
So would these have normally gone into just a normal Inchmurrin 12 bottling?
The stock would normally go into that, but we do. I guess I was saying we have done some trials with different types of specialist wood. So this was the first time we'd used rum. Sauternes and Limousin probably done more work with. But we do like an exclusive cask offering every year to all our distributors. And as part of that, we offer like so many casks to kind of markets worldwide, and the distributor can pick casks that they feel are suit their individual market. So these were ones that we have a specialist wood filling program. So we'll fill like batches of anything between 2 to maybe 5 or 6 at a time, and we'll release a couple every year. So we start from really 6-month finishes, and then we use these as trials to see how the flavour develops with kind of longer finishes. So we can see that some of these, we are talking about the 18 months to 2 years in the finishing cask. So we're seeing a good impact from the secondary wood on the flavour of these.
Did you do the rum after the Glen Scotia Festival rum cask, or was it before the same time?
This would have been, these were put into the finishing cask in September 18. So I think it would have been
before.
A couple of months after the Demerara rum. I think it was maybe about a 9-month finish. So we bottled that in kind of March 19. So it would have been in June 18.
Very good starter. Thank you very much. Who would you like to go next?
So the second cask we'll go to today is the Sauternes. This is the English Open cask. Again, we're 2006 Inchmurrin, distilled the day before the first cask, so 27th of the 12th 06. Refill American oak maturation, and went into the finishing cask again September 18, bottled July 20. So just under 12 years in the original casks, and again just under 2 years in the finishing casks. And everyone, so we probably done a little bit more work with Sauternes with Loch Lomond. So it's one I personally like. When we talk about sweet wines like Oloroso, they're pretty big flavors, and with the fruit character in Loch Lomond, when you use likes of Oloroso with Loch Lomond, there's a lot of overlap, and likes of a first fill Oloroso masks a lot of the fruit flavors that we're getting with particularly like the Inchmurrin spirit. Sauternes, it's that sweet wine again, but it's a lot softer character, and we're getting a lot more kind of honeyed sweetness here.
Yeah, where the rum had a little bit of bitterness in it, this doesn't really have that at all. So I think this one's a bit dangerous, Michael.
Yeah. Say Sauternes, probably, if you see, we released a 14-year-old lower range expression towards the end of last year in Limousine Oak. And it was really down to Limousine Oak and Sauternes for the finish on that. I think I love both of them with Inchmurrin. I think they really complement that spirit character. With the Sauternes though, I don't know how many people in here tonight have actually heard of Sauternes or even tasted it. It's not, whereas if you think how many of us have heard of Oloroso or tasted Oloroso sherry, Sauternes isn't that big a drink. So the casks are harder to come by, a lot more, you can't really guarantee supply. So for us, we take them when we can get them. We're maybe get 1 or 2 batches a year. Some years we haven't had any. And so they really suit kind of special editions and kind of cask bottling work.
And they make a really easy drink. I would imagine that the people that might be buying this at a golf event or a sporting event wouldn't be, maybe not used to cask strength whiskey. But this actually, I think, makes it quite easy for them. Mr. Paul Stevens, you got one of these, didn't you?
Yeah, I ordered the rum and I got the Sauternes, but I'm quite happy with that. That's fine.
Yeah, well, Peter Hunt knows he's got this ESP thing going on. He said to me, I think, he said, I think Paul would rather have this one.
Yeah, he was absolutely on the money.
Have you cracked it open or just on the tasting side?
Sorry?
Have you cracked it open?
No, I've already cracked. I've already cracked it open. Yeah, yeah. That was the funny thing, because I was going to comment earlier on about how lovely the rum cask was, and I thought, hold on a second. Went back to it and realised it was the Sauternes cask, and I checked my order, and it was, oh, I ordered rum, got Sauternes. But I like the rum, but I have to say the Sauternes is I think it's fantastic. It's really, really good.
I think probably what got Peter was the fact that they both get English on them. This one's the English Championships, and the Sauternes is the English Open. So we need to
easy mistake to make.
Send him back to school. Is he on? Is he on to defend himself? I don't see him.
He'd have waded in by now if he was.
I mean, he's not shy. Mr. Nick Button, I saw you this afternoon. What do you think of the Sauternes?
Oh, I like the Sauternes. I'm wondering whether I'd have preferred to have had another mix up myself. The rum's very nice. The Sauternes I'm enjoying. I'm a bit late, to be honest. I'm a bit flustered by this. It's been a long day at work, but I'm enjoying both of these. Sorry. Not the most prolix reply, but I'm enjoying it. Both very nice. Thank you.
Excellent.
I'll be controversial then and say if I was given this instead of the rum, I'd be sending it back asking for the rum.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I don't think we get Sauternes finishes. It's just not for us. I think it's maybe just too sweet in the palate for us.
I thought the other way around. I thought the rum was too sweet. This one is nicer.
The rum's got a good bit of butter in it as well. It's got that bourbon butteriness hidden away in the back of it. This is just a little bit.
This one's got some spice to it as well. It's nice.
Ryan and I never agree though.
Yeah, I've gone back to the rum. I think, you know what? I think I might have had the rum.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
That's fine. Brian and I will back for the Sauternes. That's not a problem.
That's cool.
That's whiskey, right?
Absolutely.
Paul, I think
Whichever tastes nearest to bourbon, Rich, eh?
I think they should be sending you a free rum just to make up for it.
I'm glad you made that suggestion. I couldn't possibly have suggested that.
I think I've got some Captain Morgan somewhere. I'll send you a bottle down.
You've all met Victor, haven't you? I think there's at least 2 chances of that happening.
And don't you start, Gary. You short-change me on the tasting stock.
Oh, is that time? I need to be away for right. Nice to It would have been so bad if you hadn't just bought me out everything.
Well, we know. We got
How dare you sell stock?
we got we got a big pallet this week with the 2 Manzanares on it. So
Wonderful.
the first one sold out pre-sale, and the second one's got, I think it's got maybe about 30 bottles to go.
How wonderful.
Yeah, so the first one we did is Lord Street, which is the main street in Southport, and the second one was Botanic Road, which is the main street in Churchtown, which is where the Whiskey Club normally meet, which is where Remedy is. There you go.
The Botanic Road's open for seconds now, if anybody's keen to get one to drink and one to keep.
There's a few left.
Certainly my intention. Yeah.
We've priced it quite keenly, so I think they're £46, and if you're a member,
£6. Yeah.
I know. It's like Christmas every day of the week here.
It's about giving people the whiskey.
When's the next of those releases, Victor?
Probably once the Botanic Road is sold out.
Right. Okay. Come on, people.
Yeah. I think the next one's called Marine Drive, which is obviously the road next to the marina on the front. You'll see it in July, Paul, when you're here for the festival. He's frozen.
That's what happens when you don't get your rum one.
So is the fourth one called Cockledick's Lane then, Victor?
No, we're not that brave.
It's got to be Hastings Road, surely.
I'm afraid not. What about these Manzanella casks, Michael? Do you know much? Can you remember much about them? Because they were bottled back in 2018, I think.
Yeah, so it was a couple of years ago, but I think again it was 2009 Inchmarin Spirit. Again, would have been all refill American oak hogsheads, original maturation. And then we bought a batch of Manzanilla casks from cooperage that we get a lot of our sherry wood from in Montilla. So we buy Oloroso and PX from cooperage called Juan Pino in Montilla. So we've had a good relationship with them. It was sherry wood you're buying old sherry wood, it's can be very risky, and just as the availability's kind of got squeezed, most of the good wood's gone, and there's a lot of poor quality casks have come into the marketplace for the last 4 or 5 years. So a lot of traders offering sherry wood. So we've been working with 2 cooperages in Montilla. We've chosen Montilla rather than Jerez because most of our sherry wood is PX for Glen Scotia double cask. So we've chosen cooperages based in Montilla where most of the PX wine comes from to work with, but they do work with bodegas in Jerez, and they can source us any types of sherry that we're looking for. So all this sherry that we've worked with so far has been old wood rather than new casks that we've had made and had seasoned for us. So this was the first time that we'd used Manzanilla. And like as I was saying before, the Oloroso, I think, is too big an impact for Inchmarin, whereas the Manzanilla has for me, it's got a salty finish to it. And that kind of salty finish I thought worked really well with the sweetness and the fruit in the Inchmarin spirit itself. What we did find was there was a lot more variability cask to cask with the Manzanilla. So it could get sort of quite different levels of impact depending which cask we were tasting.
Well, we'll get through these and probably in the next 4 to 6 months. I'm sure everybody will have an opinion on which one is their favourite. There are 4 different Manzanilla casks that we've secured. So good.
We're going to get Michael on to do a tasting then, Victor.
Well, if we ask him nicely and do it after 8 o'clock, I'm sure he'll come on and bring his history notes in and tell us a wee bit more about them.
I also have trouble remembering what I was doing last week. So 2 years ago was a stretch for me.
The joys of having children, eh?
Yeah, well, that's just saying to Victor, the background noise has died down a bit now. That's them to bed. I don't know, you're in the tasting, the big Loch Lomond tasting 2 weeks ago, and we started that at 7:30. So for the first hour of that, there was and we got sounds of like Netflix and arguing about bedtimes in the background in front of 100-odd people. So we're a lot calmer tonight.
So I see in the on the tasting tonight, Mr. Mark Silk. How are you, Mark? We haven't spoken for a little while.
Hi, Victor. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad.
And I see that you bought a ticket for our festival in July. Are you planning on traveling from Germany?
Yeah, I think there's a chance that we may be allowed to travel, and I urgently need to come across anyway. So got lots of bottles with you guys, so I thought it perhaps easiest to just come and pick them up.
It probably is easiest to pick them up. We've had terrible trouble getting things sent to people outside of the UK, particularly Germany. Actually, Germany's probably been the most difficult.
Yeah, I've had some varying experiences. Some deliveries were fairly easy, and another one has been stuck in customs now for, I think, close to 3 months. So it varies. Yeah, I don't know. It's terrible.
We also had one chap who I sent some samples to, which were free, just little minis over, and he was charged €23 admin charge on the German side to have them delivered.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah. Yeah, that's the minimum handling fee. Yeah, it's a percentage of the value if the minimum is 23.
Right. Okay. The minimum, the percentage of nothing is nothing. I was trying to tell them.
Yeah, if you put zero value on it, they'll estimate it.
Very good. Listen, good to see you. What do you make of the whiskey so far tonight?
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get the set yet, so I'm joining in with a selection of Loch Lomond that I have standing around, and well, you were talking about the I don't know whether you can see it, the Sauternes. So this is a German exclusive, and it's
That was 476-3.
Oh, okay, 478.
On your cast knowledge, Michael.
478-3. So that's a sister cask. So that's from the same batch. It probably would have been bottled a little earlier.
It was bottled February 2020.
Yeah, so that would have had probably 15 to 18 months in the Sauternes. The one we're tasting tonight's close to the 2 years in the Sauternes.
Yeah.
Pretty similar, but just an extra kind of 5-6 months in the finishing cask.
That's one of the bottles I have waiting for me with Victor. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this one here is really one of my favorite whiskies. It's very good. In fact, I think I need to get another bottle if I can.
So, Mark, are you fundamental?
Yeah.
Right. I know you now.
There you go. He's been exposed.
Yeah.
I know. I recognise a few. There's an old bottle of Inchmurrin on your.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's probably the 66 that gave me away. That's my birth year.
I'm 1977, and we have a couple of little mill casks from 1977, but I didn't get one for my 40th birthday with the distillery.
You didn't get one?
No. We've done a few things with hand bottling, so the odd time, if you have a big birthday, we would do a hand fill for you.
You need to drop some more unsubtle hints, Michael.
And we can do that for him.
Yeah, we'll get a petition going for you.
Yeah.
Or threaten a work to rule or something.
Need of rules first, Paul. That's the problem.
Touche.
Indeed.
Okay,
Michael, where should we go next?
So the next cask we have is the last of the Unpeated. So this is the Betfred British Masters. And this is the 2006 first fill Limousine Oak. With, like I was saying, with like the strength of Oloroso and sherry impacts, we're very careful about how much wood influence is there when we use any finishing casks. When we're talking about finishing casks, we want it to either enhance the existing flavors that are in the spirit. So for the likes of the first two, there's fruit and sweetness there that work with the flavors that are already in the spirit. With the Limousine Oak, we're taking a different approach, and we're adding flavors that aren't found in the whiskey itself. So we're introducing new flavors that then complement the fruit flavors that are in the Inchmurrin spirit. This cask is French oak, It's Limousin is a regional French oak. I don't know if everyone here has been following the terroir debate in Waterford. Whether you agree with that or don't agree with that, when you're using plant material in whiskey, how that plant grows affects the structure of the plant, and that then affects the flavors that are introduced when you use that with the whiskey. That can be barley, can be peat, or it can be oak. So you'll see kind of oak is becoming a lot more, people are looking at kind of different sources of oak. So you'll see a lot of like Black Sea oak. So the typical ones are Spanish, French, American, but those kind of broad areas are being broken down now. If you follow American oak, you'll hear a lot of distillers in the US talking about Gariana oak from, I think, Oregon. You'll see that Glenmorangie have specific places where they cut their American oak for their casks. So it's really the growing conditions of the oak really affect the flavors that it introduces when you use it for maturing whiskey. The work that we've done, we did a couple of trial batches. Can't remember if this was part of it, but we looked at Limousine Oak, Moselle, and Vosges. So we chose 3 forests in France, and we worked with a cooperage in Bordeaux to produce casks, specifically forest, from those 3 areas. The casks were all hogsheads, and we used a light toast to limit or give a more controlled release of flavour from the wood. Again, if you know, virgin oak can be quite a strong flavour. So the way that you temper that is to use a lighter toast. So for these, we've used a light toast, really to give a softer influence so that we can then control it more with how long we leave the whiskey in the cask for. So for this, again, you're getting the fruit flavours of the Inchmurrin, but with that, with the Limousine Oak, there's that New York kind of caramel sweetness and vanilla, but the Limousine in particular gave a very refined spice character when we compared it to the likes of Moselle or Vosges. It's really that kind of cinnamon, clove, aniseed spice that makes the Limousine stand out.
It's got a lovely, lovely spice to it.
This is fantastic. It's like the 14-year-old on steroids. Really good.
You notice this is bottled just before it was 14. So this was one of the trials that I'd used before we came up with the 14-year-old release that we did last year. And like you say, it is that on steroids. It's with the core range 14, we're using a 6-month finish in first fill, whereas this has had nearly 2 years, September 18 to July 20. So it really looking at kind of 21 months. You're getting a real big hit of that Limousine Oak here. And that's giving you those a really refined spice character.
Michael, I know obviously you've looked at a few, and the Limousine was the kind of standout that goes with the spirit. Is there any other ones, any other of the French oak that you want to try, or are you kind of settled on Limousine for Loch Lomond?
I've really settled on Limousine. I think I'm happy with the flavors that we get. I think it would be hard to get anything better than what we have. say the Moselle and the Vosges were a lot more vanilla, a lot closer to American oak, whereas this was a really stand out, noticeably different. I think just with that light toast, you're getting that spice character, and I think I love the spice that we're getting on this. It's a really kind of elegant, refined spice. It's close to some of the spice flavors that we get with some of our peated malts. Again, it's that different way of kind of playing with the spice. You're getting that from the wood rather than the peat character.
I think it's a cracker. I mean, just having recently been introduced to the new Loch Lomond 14, it's very quickly becoming one of my favourites. And I think that finish on it's wonderful.
So I know, Mr. John Watkinson, you bought one of these, didn't you? Was it a gamble, or did you have some inside information?
No inside information, and it certainly wasn't a gamble. I think it's superb. Reminds me sort of obviously the standard Inchmurren, but it's just ramped up with the ABV, and it's really working for me. I'd say it's got this really nice sort of sweet and sour thing going on for me on the palate, which is lovely. And like you say, it's got the spice in there as well, but it's quite soft. Yeah, I think it's superb. Really enjoyed it, and I'm very glad that I got a bottle of this one.
I agree. I think it's well.
Can Peter misdeliver me one of these, please?
I also got a bottle of this.
This is the Betfred British Open, British Masters. I reckon Peter can read Betfred from British or English or Welsh. I think you'll be okay with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, Rich? You're into the Virgin Oaks with bourbon.
Yeah, so I got this one because I spotted the Limousine Cask finish. I didn't know what to expect. It tastes a lot like I had a bottle picked by Kerr. It was part of the golf range in a black box. Drank it within about 2 weeks of opening it. It reminds me of that. Is that right or not? Maybe I'm
talking about one of our golf releases.
Yeah.
Christy Kerr.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that would have been because she has her own winery.
Oh, okay.
In Napa. So she sent us some of her wine casks. So I think it was a Pinot Noir.
So it's nothing like this at all, and I'm talking rubbish.
But some of the spice would have been there. Probably a lot more kind of dark fruit on it. Whereas this is more the kind of orange zesty fruit. The Christy Kerr would have, it's the same spirit. So it's Inchmurren spirit. Christy Kerr was 2002. So a bit older. And with the wine finish, I think it was maybe a 3-month finish. So it was quite light on the wine. Again, you would have got kind of red fruits from that, but the spice would have been there. And with wine finishes, you are getting that red fruit, but you're getting that kind of tannin effect. And that kind of has a dryness that's similar to the spice that we're getting on this Limousine Oak.
And I've got a terrible point of reference because I haven't got any left, but I know I really
a good sign that it's drunk, so I'll take that any day.
We don't hang around long here. I really do like this one. I love it, and I love the pepper. I get like a peppery steak on the back end, which is what you get out of a rye. So sort of a rye, one of the ryes that would come over. It's a decent proof, sort of a cask strength.
Yeah, and it is. Like I struggled to pick out a lot of the individual spice on this, but pepperiness, cloves, aniseed. There was a lot of subtle spice here, all going on together. I think this gives it a wonderful finish.
Yeah, I love it. I'm really pleased. I'm with John. Really happy.
Can we go back to Callum and Kate and see if they've perked up and which of the first 3 unpeated they like?
Oh, Victor, you know we're always perky.
Yeah, that was really nice. I got a lot of sort of like lemon drizzle in amongst with the spices.
Yeah. And that's really with the base Inchmarin spirit. We're getting a lot of those citrus flavors. You'll see the different casks tonight. We've had some kind of grapefruit, lemons, oranges. That's why a lot of the sweet casks, like the Sauternes and the rum, you get that sweet and sour effect. So we're really kind of bringing out some juicy flavors with the finishing casks. With this one, we're rather than adding sweetness, we're adding a dryness to the kind of, so ramping up the sweetness, we're adding that dryness to work with the sharpness, the citrus that's there.
Very good. Margot, what do you make of the first three?
So this, I really like this, I have to say. I'm a fan of the oak finish. I love it, and I do taste the cinnamon and the clove, and it's got a really nice, spicy, smooth finish. I could drink this all night.
What about the first two? Did you enjoy them as much?
So I really like the rum finish, which surprised me because I don't drink rum. Too many college nights, let's not mention those. I wasn't a fan of the Sauternes. It just isn't to my taste, but I actually really like the rum. So yeah, overall, quite good.
Good. And we've got a new man on tonight, but he is probably, well, he's certainly the oldest friend I've got on here, Mr. David Mackay. I can see you there. How are you enjoying yourself?
Evening, everybody. Evening, Victor. Yeah, really enjoying it. Thank you. Not tried Loch Lomond before, but I actually like the Sauternes, having been to one of the vineyards there. So that kind of brought a memory back. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm listening and learning. It's very interesting, Victor. Thank you for inviting me along.
Good to see you.
If anyone wants a story about Victor, if you bung me a wee note and a $5 in the post, I'm happy to tell some stories from days gone by.
Yeah, we played rugby together through school. Did myself and David. I think I outscored him 2-1. I seem to remember, which is a lie. Good to see you, Dave.
Yes, thank you very much.
So, Michael, we're going to do some peat.
Yep. So we'll move on to the first of our peated drams tonight. Just bear with me. I haven't poured my peat yet.
I'm going to go and get a new fresh glass.
Which one's first, Michael?
So we're going with the Oloroso first. So it's the Wheels Open and Celtic Classic.
Keeping the best for last.
Yeah.
Do we know where that was played?
Celtic Manor and Wheels.
It was it? The 2010, yeah.
My kind of golf course knowledge doesn't stretch much past Royal Portrush.
Well, I know it's only a fond memory for me because I won there, so I'll go anything, otherwise I'll be talking golf.
I've never played there, but I grew up 3 miles from there.
Nice part of the world, North Antrim coast.
Not in Newport, surely.
Port Stewart, and so it's just round the corner from Portrush.
That's the posh bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful golf course.
Yes, it's just like when I was growing up, we never thought that could have happened. But well, things have kind of settled down at home now, and it was great to have like the Open come back there, because it is. I don't play golf, but I know that the courses around the North Coast are just amazing. Like Portstewart itself has a great course. Portrush is just outstanding, and I think it's, if you love golf, it's a great place to go. There's like so many courses around, like you can just really close to each other.
So, Michael, can you tell us a bit about the differences in the spirit here? Is it the same still configuration, just with peated spirit, or different?
So this one is, so the base spirit again is 2006. So this was distilled on the 13th of the 3rd, 06. And these two, the Oloroso and the Tawny Port, are actually from the same batch of spirit. So it was the same, we kind of added some cask together and we filled off some Oloroso and Tawny Port at the same time. So you're getting exactly the same spirit with these last two. So you get a real kind of impact about what the casks are doing. So for this 2006 spirit, it's heavily peated, so 50 ppm. And it was distilled in our straight neck pot stills, which you can see just behind Brian there. Yep, that's them. But unlike the Inchmarin, where it was a tight spirit cut, like in the Inchmarin, the spirit cut is 90 to 80%. So it gives a strength in receiver of 85% strength. That gives a character very similar to triple distilled. Whereas for the peated, we've gone with the straight neck stills with the wide collection strength. With the wide cut. So that's taking a cut from 90 down to about 55. It's giving us a collection strength of 65%. So that's collection strength in this 65 compared to 85 for the first three. And so the kind of the base spirit for this is that 50 ppm phenol, but because it's being distilled in the straight neck pot stills, we've kind of taken out a lot of the medicinal phenolic character. What we're left with is like a real smoky, spicy peat character here.
And which of the brands would this end up in if it wasn't cask finished? Would this be in Inchmarin?
This would be mixed with our two other peated styles for Inchmarin, or we'd age it on for 18-year-old. Loch Lomond 18 is about 15% of this spirit style. So that's kind of, with our core range expressions, we're really combining like mostly 3 or 4 spirit styles together to give a very balanced flavor profile. So what the single cask and exclusive cask bottlings do, they allow you to taste the individual spirit styles themselves.
Very good. Who should we ask? Mr. Andrew Bardsley. Is the peat tickling you?
Yeah, we're kind of I'm feeling like we're in my wheelhouse now as well. I have to say, I enjoyed the rum very much. Sauternes, it looked like a glass of Sauternes. That's what maybe was putting me off. Maybe I think really the color of it was very, very reminiscent of a Sauternes. So just instantly, I was a little bit unsure, and the palate for me, I wasn't a fan. Limousin, very spicy, and I think the nose on this Wales Open Oloroso, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I have to say, the taste it doesn't tell you 50 ppm like on the nose at all. It's quite a mild peat for me on the nose. You obviously get the strength of it when you taste it, but it almost tastes a little dirty, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It's just it's a little earthy in its taste, but the nose on it is stunning, absolutely stunning. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this. Big fan.
Excellent, thank you. And listen, thank you for your bid. You won the I was going to say it's a raffle. It wasn't a raffle. It was an auction for the Carnmore tasting set for the Brain Injury Trust.
Yes, indeed. Very pleased.
So I see that come through. We'll get that out to you as soon as Chris Lodge wakes up tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Andrew. That was great. Thank you.
Not at all. No, I was on the last Carnmore as well. And it's fantastic. It's some great drums, and I'm happy to bid it up. No problem at all.
Thank you. Okay. Well, should we get him off his couch, Mr. Lodge? How about you this evening?
Why have you switched rooms, Chris? Why aren't you not in that?
I was really comfortable then. I've switched rooms because Michaela prefers to sit in here. But he's on an iPad here, so I've got to get off the couch and come all the way over here. And then everyone goes, "Oh, your sound's rubbish," and it all reverbs. And I get into trouble, and Victor starts rolling his eyes. And I like the peated, which is unusual for me. I'm not really a massive fan of peated whiskies, but this one does it for me with regards to what we've had so far. And Victor, I thank you very much for passing the blame of everything on to Peter. Well done.
But he's not here, so
yeah, keep up the good work.
Yeah, if you weren't here,
If you're not here,
I'm going.
Go and sit down, Lodge.
Okay, so the other thing that we've got going on that you might have seen on the group chat and on the various bits of the internet is we're running an in-person festival in Southport. Southport Whisky Club are hosting it 30th and 31st of July. Assuming that Boris lets us all out and lets us get together and have a drink together. We've got three events. We've got a members evening on the Friday. We've got a bit of a whiskey trail going on through town on the Saturday afternoon, and then we're organising a party in the middle of town on the Saturday night. Michael, you will be there, won't you?
I don't know yet. I can see.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but I want
a Loch Lomond tasting, or
no, just to come down for a bit of a shindig.
No, I was trying. I know we're doing this one virtually, but I was going to say that the next tasting we do, I have to be down there for it.
Right. Well, let's do it over that weekend.
Get down to see you. That time could work for me. I just have to check with the boss here.
Okay. We'll send some formal invites out, and we look forward to see you, Mr.
What if your fee for going down is a 40-year-old cask of Little Mill? Would that persuade you?
I haven't got one of them.
Not that he's willing to tell anybody else about it, that's for sure.
Mr. McAllister's coming round from Campbelltown. He can pick you up on the way.
I'll say it'll be. I think I've probably no couple of you now pretty well, so it'd be great to get down to see you. I think after the year we've had, there'd be more than a dram or two drunk.
I think so. And
absolutely.
of course, you can bring your wife with you. There's quite a few partners coming along, though. I think Mr. Stevens is leaving his at home.
I know. I think the last thing my wife would want is to come to a whiskey and
well, and pick up the remains.
Yeah. She's if I'm drinking anything peaty, say if we're out on a night, or when we used to get out on a night out, say if I was drinking an Ardbeg or something peaty, I would have to sit at another table. It's just I've tried to get her on the whiskey, but it's just
very good, very good. So, are we finishing off with the port?
Yep. So go on to the UK Championship cask. It's the 2006 Croft and Gia or fully peated tawny port finish. And we've seen that kind of Oloroso and tawny port are kind of some of those bigger wood influences that I've talked about that I wouldn't put with an unpeated Loch Lomond. I think we need a bigger character, a punchier kind of base spirit to hold the Oloroso first fill or the tawny port first fill. So that's the peated spirit really works well here. And as Andrew was saying, when we distill the peat in the straight neck pot stills, we take out a lot of that medicinal character. So we get this different take on heavy peat. So with the straight necks, we really bring out the smokiness and a lot of the spice, and we do get that kind of what people describe in different ways as an earthiness, a funkiness. Some like say ashy, some say that farmyard. So when you kind of strip back some of the aggressive peat flavors, you get that kind of smoky, spicy flavors coming through. The ABV on this one is 53.4. And again, we're looking at October 2018 to July 20. So we're looking at kind of 20 odd months in the tawny port.
So I should say we've got we still have plenty of all of the 5 tonight in the shop if anybody wants to partake in their favourite or all 5. I kept 2 bottles of each back, and I have to say I'm glad I did. They'll not be getting sold. But this is a cracker. This is lovely.
Say, Victor, what's your favourite out of the lot?
I actually really liked the Sauternes, but then I went back to the rum and thought, no, actually, the rum's better than that. And then I got to the Limousin and thought, no, this is the winner of the 3. The Oloroso was good, but this this port I think is a smasher and an amazing colour.
So that's 4 first places and a second place. Is that basically what you're saying, Victor?
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to have to
if it's
Middle-
joint
middle
first, then it's
name of
technically fourth
indecision.
first place or a fifth.
So placings, it's kind of what I love to hear about our whiskies. And
Sorry, Michael, I missed. How long's that one been in the port for?
about 20 months.
Oh, nice.
Nice, nice. Let's ask a more learned man than me, Mr. Chris Arnott. Which one did you like best?
You see, this is a challenge now, Victor, because I liked them all. I have to be honest. I was sitting here going, which one did I like first? Well, I like that one, then I like that one, then I like that one. But I think of the
Hold on, Chris, you can come back.
I think of the two peaty ones, I prefer this one. I think, but there's also that point of did the first one warm up the palate a little bit, you know, to kind of make you really appreciate this one more. So, but you know, it's funny. I bought the Sauternes in this, and in many ways, I don't regret it. But I wish I'd gone straight to peat. But the funny thing is, when I joined Southport Whisky last year, I really did not like peated whisky, and over the last year, I'm finding my palate is changing quite a bit. So, see, so this is what you've all driven me to now. I'm starting to really enjoy peated whisky.
That's got to be a good thing. It's got to be a good thing. Stuart, you haven't spoken this evening.
Well,
what's your opinion?
I got the Oloroso cask, and but I've actually really liked the rum. First off, but so I'm thinking that I might have to get one of those. But I agree that we've got about four first places and one second place. So I won't say which one is the second place, but I will say that the port is better than the Oloroso. But there's no losers in this one.
I think I've just picked up from Callum and Kate smoked Ribena. I think that's a perfect descriptor for the port finish.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go back to our newbie, Mr. Dave Mackay. Which one did you like out of the five?
I preferred the port of the two peaty ones, and I'm a bit like Chris. I wasn't a great fan of peaty whiskies till recently, but the last two really did it for me tonight. And the port finish one, yeah, I'd buy a bottle of that. So surprised. I wouldn't have said that at the start, but very surprised.
Very good, thank you. And Simon, the whiskey novice, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Definitely going to say the Limousine Cask.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was
That's
good.
the one.
Yeah. What about of the two peat? Did you manage to separate them?
I've bought a bottle of the Oloroso, so I'm going to go for that one.
Good man. Thank you.
I have to say, I think Mr. Henry's handling of peated spirits is something quite to behold. I mean, I'm often here to be referring to the art of the master blender as a dark art. But genuinely, I think like a few of the guys have said already, I wasn't a massive peat fan before, but certainly Inchmoan and some of the single casks, the stuff you guys have got tonight, is certainly changing my perception of it. And I think it's the way Michael blends the spirits together, marries those casks with it's the finish with the peat, and really balances everything out. That probably cuts through that perception that us non-peat fans have got of that just one big wave of smoke. When Michael can really bring in those flavours and pull out the different aspects, I think that makes it really interesting and much more approachable.
Very good, thank you.
That's really down to kind of how we distill at Loch Lomond. It's really when people talk about peat, they talk about the ppm, like what's the ppm and where's the peat from. Never talk about how the peat's distilled. And that has as big an impact on either ppm or whether it's Isla peat North of Scotland peat, Orkney peat. And just with Loch Lomond, what we can do with our still setup is really dial in on specific flavors. And I think we do that with peat, that we really show a different aspect of peat character that you don't get with a lot of other distilleries. It's pretty unique to us. And it is about, they are approachable. But again, if you're coming into peat, they're approachable, you can drink them. But if you're an experienced peat drinker, you can go searching for those flavors, those like spice, smokes, and you'll find them there. So it's really, that kind of distillery character that we're bringing out here.
You mentioned Croft and Gay earlier, talking about the peat distillation style. How does that differ from Inchmoan? We've had quite a few good indie bottlings of Croft and Gay, and
we've kind of moved away from using the names because they're just too confusing. It's like you've just asked me, like, you're pretty experienced, like, you've a really solid knowledge base, but you're asking me what's the difference between Inchmoan and Croft and Gay, and that's kind of really why we've moved away from the names, that people don't really get the significance of them. You really need to know a lot about Loch Lomond to know the difference between like Inchmoan and Croft and Gay. What we've done with, we're talking about individual spirit styles. Inchmoan is straight neck still, high collection strength, heavy peat, and Croft and Gay is straight neck still, low strength, heavy peat. So the difference between Inchmoan and Croft and Gay spirit styles is the collection strengths or the cup points. But to confuse things, when we released Inchmoan 12-year-old, we combined Inchmoan, Croft and Gay and Swan Neck. So we combined 3 of the spirit stills and bottled it under Inchmoan.
So is this one that Inchfad?
Yeah, Inchfad, heavy peat. Because Inchfad can be unpeated, medium, and heavy peat.
Yeah.
You're trying not to confuse us now, right?
It's fantastic, the explanation you gave us last summer. And if anybody's not seen that, go back for a highly instructional evening, going through all the different spirit styles that come off Loch Lomond. It's fascinating.
And I have to say, the whiskey that kind of took my breath away last year was the one that you served up at the festival, which was the Cask Strength Peated Grain, which when I tried it, I think if you look back at the video, you'll kind of see me thinking, bloody hell, what is this? That was absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, and it's really the thing I say when we're tasting the peated single grain is the starting point is the same as the Lefroy, Lagavulin, Ardbeg. It's heavily peated malt, but when you distill, when you change your distillation, that has such a huge impact on the flavour of the malt that you're distilling. Your style of distillation gives you such great ability to kind of target specific flavors. You can cut out some of the big flavors and really kind of target softer, more subtle flavors. And that's what we're doing with the peated single grain. I think, say the peated single grain, it's like I have 2 bottles with me tonight, apart from the Gulf editions, peated single grain and the Loch Lomond 12.
It's kind of like almost all the whiskey you ever really need, right? So if you're doing if you're stuck on a desert island, they'd be up there as the 2 you'd take with you, I think. I mean, the peated grain I think we sell it for 25, 30 quid a bottle.
Yeah.
It's just
And can I,
outrageous.
Gary can cover his ears for a second here, but I'm going to say, like last year, we released the Peated single grain, the 14-year-old Limousine Oak, a 21 and a 30-year-old. And the two that I was most excited about were the Peated single grain and the 14-year-old Limousine Oak.
Yeah. Well, we sold loads of it because of the festival. People tried it and we got right behind it. But people tried it and they keep coming back for more of it because it's just a really, really high quality peated whiskey to sit and sip. You should have you any plans of doing a cask strength version of it like we tried?
No, I don't think so. So the actual core range bottling itself is 46%.
Yeah.
Chill filtered natural color. So that's really kind of as much as we can do for a core range expression.
The thing you need to remember is, Victor, like we said, we've got 8 different spirit styles before you even start mucking about with anything else. Do you know what I mean? So we've got quite a lot to play with at 46% before we start getting into special editions and cask strength.
I've got a wee bit left. 60.5% it was.
Yeah, I think Southport was the first time I tasted that. So I think you're the first and only people who've had that at cask strength.
Yeah.
Well,
Can we have some more? We'll do a club exclusive single
Sure.
cask bottling of that any day.
Any day. That will take Gary like 9 months to arrange.
Yeah.
Take him a week to sort out. We'll definitely have one of them.
But if you ever get like half a cask left at the end of vatting a batch or something of that you haven't watered down yet, then stick our name on that one, please.
No, I have to kind of stick up for Gary here.
Don't.
September to kind of December last year was a nightmare for us. See, with Brexit, we put out probably close to 12 months worth of spirit through a bottling hall in 4 months. So it was just everyone through the business was running 100 miles an hour. And it did take time to get things sorted. So hopefully you'll be seeing a better response from us now. But that was purely the Brexit effect. We were kind of really under pressure kind of to the tail end of last year.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. But any excuse to give Gary a bit of stick,
Appreciate that, Victor. I'll take that on the chin.
Anytime. So we've got a bit of a special guest in Southport next weekend. Yash is coming up along with Amit and another one of his friends for the weekend. We'll also have a big table, hopefully arriving, which will go into the mash. But before we use the table and the mash, Yash, do you want to give us a wee description of what you're going to get up to next weekend in Southport?
So with the new Loch Lomond Southport exclusive, we're going to do NFC tags on them, and that will basically give, by scanning the NFC tag, obviously one of the first thing is the authenticity of the bottle. I know it's not a very expensive bottle, but it's something that is to look forward to and for all of you to try. Also, it will give the provenance by scanning. Will give you all the information. Obviously, information about Southport. Not that all of us know already, don't know, but yeah, it will give more information on that. Information on the distillery itself. So we're given three steps to distillery itself, and then we got one final step, which is on remedy. So it's a bit more about remedy and everything.
Very good. Thank you.
And then you can also share your reviews and give a rating to the bottle you will be having itself.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you for a start. And
Yes.
And we've got a little bit of whiskey up here that you can try while you stay over after you have attached these tags to the bottles. Do you want to describe how that works?
Right. So I've been trying on one of these just to try out, because it is very hard to put these tags on, especially when something is already bottled. And especially because most of the single malt whiskies, Scottish whiskey especially, they use tin capsule. And NFC, when you put against tin or any metal, it conducts, because the way NFC works is NFC itself does not have any power. To power it up, you actually, by just clicking it once, you actually powering the NFC. At the same time, NFC is sending some information through to your phone, and hence you can open up what's in there. Each bottle, each NFC tag that we will program and put it on will have its own identity. It will have a blockchain identity. So it's very unique to that bottle. Cannot be copied. No one can do it at the moment. And we don't know hackers in maybe 20 years time, maybe. We don't know. But at the moment, it's not possible. It's next to impossible.
Very good, very good. And so when these go out, we'd kind of, the reason for doing this is just like it's a bit like a trial or a proof of concept. So we'd be asking people to try it, scan it, have a look at the information there, try some of the functions that might be on there, and give us some feedback. Let us know if you like it, what you like, what you don't like, and Yash and his team can take that away and do something with it. Is that fair?
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Also, while Michael is here, needed a bit of a favor from you, Michael. If you could share with us a bit more on those particular whiskies, obviously grain to the bottle. Obviously, it's anything you want to share. You don't need to give us any trade secrets at all.
I think Victor himself spoke about this before we came on tonight. Any details on the casks? Probably if I email them through to Victor, he can share them with you.
Yeah, anything. Anything as a company.
You want a chance to dig out the details on the casks.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be on particular cask as well. So it'll be something that you would share. I didn't get a lot from the website, so information like where if you wanted to share where you source your grain from, where you source your yeast from, anything you want to share. Anything that you don't want the end client to see, that's it's a trade secret. It stays a trade secret.
So we'll do that by email tomorrow, Michael. We'll share some information and get some more information on these casks and this whiskey down to Yash, and we'll see you next weekend, Yash.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. Cheers. Okay, one more question before I go. So this the bottle that I got off you, the Oloroso, it's still a finished because it's got cask number on it and everything.
Yeah, it is a finish. You'll see the cask number is an 18/.
That's right. Yeah. And then
so that means that's the year it was recast in.
Okay.
So any of our bottlings with type of cask number, they are a finish.
A finish. Okay. No, because I was hoping maybe it would mention somewhere on the bottle that it's finished, but it didn't, and that's why I was a bit confused. That's why I wanted to make sure and ask you. It is definitely a finish. Do you do first fill Oloroso or any other type of first fill cask?
Not for the full maturations. So all our original maturation casks are American oak.
American oak.
And when we have all our distillation styles, we find that the best wood for kind of showcasing the flavor we get from distillation is American oak. And we'll use first fill bourbon, refill bourbon. We have our own cooperage, and we'll do recharring. So whenever a cask has had 2 or 3 fillings, we'll scrape the inside, burn it again. And that'll give whereas bourbon gives kind of more caramel, vanilla sweetness, the recharring gives a lot more coconut, toffee. It gives a slightly different flavor on American oak. Yeah. The likes of these bourbon and recharred American oak, they give a great background to our distillery character. So that's okay. We do almost 100% filling into American oak.
Maybe that's something you can put down in the email. We can share that with the people. See, I wasn't aware of that. Now I know. That's great.
That's where kind of one of 4 distilleries with their own cooperage.
Yes, we're sharing that. So one of the steps we're given is the so anything I found on distillery, I've got history, distillery, cooperage, and history.
Although we like tonight, it's different for me because we've been talking so much about wood. Normally for Loch Lomond tastings, we talk a lot about the distillery character, but the wood is still important to us, and we control our wood influence by having our own cooperage. Yeah. And that the importance of the wood is to allow us to showcase the distillery flavors.
Great.
Cool. Okay, so back to the whiskey. Does anyone have any strong opinions or any questions or any random comments they would like to make before we wrap up?
Only to say thank you very much, Michael. I've twisted your arm a little bit to host this for us. It's a really fine selection.
So it's always great to get down and see you all. And like I said earlier, I'm hoping the next time I get down to see you, it's in Southport. So it's the second time I've been online with you. I really need to get down to Remedy and see you all in person.
Looking forward to that.
I think Simon had a question. Well, I think he put it to Gary on Twitter earlier this afternoon. Like, why don't we do more of this in the UK? And it's really that we do offer these casks to all our markets, and we can do as many kind of weird and wonderful or cask finishes as we like, and we can play around with spirit character as much as we like, but we need somebody to kind of sell that for us. So with our single cask and our exclusive casks, we do offer them to distributors, and it's really that we need somebody to work with us on these casks. So that's why we see a lot of particularly European kind of markets are a lot more active than the UK on a single exclusive cask bottlings. But if you look at kind of Southport now, we've had 4 Manzanilla casks. doing a lot with Glen Scotia, with Southport. You know, when we get somebody we can work with, that's when we can really open the door on things like this.
Yeah, Gary and I have been. We've got a couple of ideas that we've been working on last year, and rather than him taking his time, it's been me taking my time closing a couple of things off. But I'd like to think we'll get a couple of single casts in this year, which will be a wee bit special. I don't want to say too much more than that. John Watkinson, get ready for some labels.
It doesn't get much more special than Tony Port, though, does it?
It's good, isn't it? Isn't it, Brian? Yeah.
I know. So I think the Tawny Port's good. But I think did I taste the wine yeast with you in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for me is like our best spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember, you have a soft spot for Tawny Port, Brian. So
that's the bottle I bought. Yeah.
Okay.
So John's just going to be a full-time label maker at this rate.
That's the way it's going.
You make it sound like he minds that would be his full-time job.
He definitely doesn't mind. When I tried to do my own label, he killed me.
Did we get Mr. Henry's favourite out of these casks?
Yeah, he said it was the green peated for 26 quid.
As long as he doesn't go four first places in 1 second, I don't mind.
No, I think after back what I've said before, and we didn't taste the single grain tonight, but I do love the single grain, and for me, it's out of the 5 tonight. It's the Limousine Oak.
Yeah,
and you'll see that's why it's not part of our core range.
Please do more of that.
Very good. Okay, folks, it's gone 9:30. I want to take my hat off and thank Gary and Michael for putting this together, and thank all of you for buying a couple of bottles and joining in. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. There is some stuff left in the shop if you want to go and fill up some more. But otherwise, I will turn the record button off.